to whom on the contrary the painful is immediately present, or punishment, but the delightful and the advantageous are present afterwards and later. For the continent and those who are more prudent pursue things of this kind. This is also the case with those who may seem to have acted from fortune or necessity, from nature or from custom, and in short, who have erred, but have not done any injury. The like too may be said of those who have been able to obtain an equitable decision, and of such as are in want. But men are in want in a twofold respect, either as being in want of necessaries, as is the case with the poor, or as being in want of superfluities, as is the case with the rich. Those also are prone to do injuries who are renowned, and also those who are very infamous. The former indeed, because it will not be supposed that they have done an injury, and the latter because they will not become at all more infamous by doing the injury. Under these circumstances, therefore, they attempt to act unjustly. CHAPTER 13. Men, therefore, injure those who possess things of which they are in want, whether they pertain to the necessaries, or to the superfluities of life, or to the enjoyment of pleasures. They also injure those that live at a distance, and those that live near them. For the plunder of the latter is rapid, and the punishment attending the injury done to the former is slow, as was the case with those who plundered the Carthaginians. Men likewise injure the unwary, and those who are not on their guard, but are credulous, for it is easy to deceive all these. They also injure the indolent, for it is the province of a diligent man to avenge the injuries he has received. And likewise the bashful, for these do not contend about gain. They also injure those that have been injured by many, and who do not avenge the injuries they have received, as being according to the proverb, the Mysian prey. Likewise those whom they have never, and those whom they have frequently injured. For both these are incautious. The former, indeed, as having never been injured, and the latter because they expect to be injured no more. And those who are or may easily be scandalized. For persons of this description neither deliberately choose to avenge an injury, being afraid of the judges, nor are able to persuade others that they have been injured. Among the number of which are those who are hated and injured. Likewise, men injure those against whom there is a pretext, either because they themselves, or their ancestors, or friends have acted ill, or would have acted ill, either to themselves, or to their ancestors, or to those that are under their protection. For, as the proverb says, depravity only wants a pretence. Men also injure both their enemies and friends, for to injure the one is easy, and the other pleasant. Likewise, those who are without friends, and who are not skilful in speaking or acting. For these either do not endeavour to revenge the injury they have received, or they become reconciled, or they finally effect nothing. Also those who derive no advantage in waiting for judgment and recompense, such as foreigners and handicraft tradesmen, for these are satisfied with a small recompense for the injuries they may have received, and such men easily cease from prosecution. Men likewise injure those who have already done many injuries to others, or who have done such injuries as they now suffer. For it seems to be something near to the not doing an injury when any one suffers an injury, as he is accustomed to do to others. I say for instance, as if a man should chastise him who acted insolently towards others. They also injure those who have acted ill, or who have wished to do so, or have this wish at present, or intend to do an injury hereafter. For it is attended both with the pleasant and the beautiful, and this appears to be near to not acting unjustly. Men likewise injure those, in injuring whom they gratify their friends, or those whom they admire, or love, or their masters, or in short, those with whom they live, and from whom they expect to obtain some good. And also those whom they have falsely accused, and their friendship with whom is dissolved. For things of this kind appear to be near to the doing no injury, as was the case between Callippus and Dion. They likewise injured those who, unless they were injured by them, would be oppressed by others, as if with these there was no longer any place for consultation. As Anicedemus is reported to have written to Gelo, when Calabria would have been depopulated by him, that he anticipated him, as if he intended to have done the same thing himself. Also those to whom if they have injured them, they may do many things justly by way of satisfaction. As Jason of Thessaly said, it is necessary to act unjustly in some things, in order that we may be able to do many just things. Men likewise act unjustly in those things in which all or many persons are accustomed to act injuriously, for they fancy they shall obtain pardon for thus acting. Also in those things which can easily be concealed. But things of this kind are such as are easily consumed, such as esculent substances, or which are easily changed, either in their figure, or colour, or temperament, or which may easily be concealed in many places. But things of this kind are such as are portable, and which may be concealed in small places, and which also resemble many things which he that did the injury possessed before. Men likewise commit injuries in those things which those who are injured are ashamed to disclose, such as insolent and indecent behaviour towards the wife of a man, or towards himself, or his children. They also injure others in those things which show the prosecutor to be a contentious person. But things of this kind are such as are of small consequence, and for which pardon is granted. And thus we have nearly shown how men are capacitated when they do an injury, in what things they act unjustly, what kind of men they injure, and on what account. CHAPTER 14. Let us now distinguish between all unjust and just deeds, first beginning from hence. Just and unjust deeds, therefore, are divided with reference to two laws, and with reference to the persons to whom they relate in two ways. But I call law either proper or common. And the proper, indeed, is that which the several cities and nations have established among themselves. And of this law, one part is not written, but the other part is written. But common law is that which is according to nature. For there is something which is just, and something which is unjust in common naturally, and which all men prophetically pronounce to be so, though they have no communion nor compact with each other. And this the Antigone of Sophocles appears to imitate, when she asserts that it is just to bury Polynices, though forbidden to do so by Creon the king, because this is naturally just. Nor could I ever think a mortal's law of power or strength sufficient to abrogate the unwritten law divine, immutable, eternal, not like these of yesterday, but made ere time began. And as Empedocles says, with respect to not slaying that which is animated, for this is not indeed just to some persons, but not just to others. But a fixed law in all men's breasts, where'er heaven's light immense shines through wide ruling air. And this is also confirmed by Alcidamas in his Messeniac oration. The persons, however, to whom the just and the unjust are referred, are distinguished in a twofold respect. For what ought, and what ought not to be done, is either referred to the community, or to one individual of the community. Hence, also, with respect to unjust and just deeds, it is possible to act justly and unjustly in two ways, viz. Towards one definite person, or towards the community. For he who commits adultery, or strikes a man, injures some definite person, but he who does not fight for his country, injures the community. Since therefore all unjust deeds receive a twofold division, and some have a reference to the community, but others to different private persons, after repeating what it is to be injured, we shall explain the rest. To be injured, therefore, is to suffer unjustly, by those who act voluntarily, for we have before defined the injuring another person to be a voluntary deed. Since, however, he who is injured is necessarily hurt, and is hurt unwillingly, what hurts are, indeed, is evident from what has been before said. For good and evil have been already essentially distinguished, and voluntary deeds are such as men perform knowingly. Hence it is necessary that all crimes should either be committed against the community or against an individual, and this either by one who is ignorant, or by one who is unwillingly, or by one who acts willingly and knowingly.